We're reaching day 32 in self-isolation now. Thanks for your likes for my video from day 31, which was yesterday. Impressed that you've enjoyed watching that, and more so impressed with the fact that you've noticed and actually began to think about, why is NHS Nightingale not filling up? With apparently it was set to have at least 500 available beds, and up to something like, somebody actually said on YouTube, something like 2,900. Thanks for your response to that, because clearly the selection criteria to get admitted there is not that you are oldest, weakest and sickest. The selection criteria to get admitted there seems to be something between about 19 and 30, with the best prognosis and the greatest chance so that you can survive and be discharged, probably too early, if you ask me, back into the community. Anyway, that was an issue for yesterday. But I can see it's making the media. And do you not just wonder if producing a hospital, albeit a tremendous achievement in the centre of London and at other sites, is fine, it's a tremendous achievement, but not having the nurses and the doctors and the equipment to stock it and staff it, do you think that's another Tory failing? I do. But at least it could bring some good news, couldn't it? People being discharged, being treated. Yep. Now, I'm not knocking that, right? It's great that people are being treated and they are leaving hospital, but more on that on another occasion, okay? But I'm glad that we are successfully treating people. Now, today is one I prepared you for sort of absolutely ages ago. And again, it comes from an article, I think this time I read this morning in The Guardian. Yeah. People are being discharged from hospital. We've just talked about that. People are surviving COVID-19. But right from the beginning, end-of-life care, palliative care, the aim has always been that these people should be managed at home. Now, this is going to be exceptionally difficult, but guidelines, as I will have said before, have already been given to GPs about managing end-of-life care at home. Now, I want you to just think about how difficult that is going to be for you and your loved ones. If it's family, if it's relatives, if it's fathers, mothers, grandparents, just think what we know is likely to come your way via the GP. Because the aim from the beginning is that end of life should be managed at home. Yep. One of the things we already know is pain relief will be provided via your GP. From what I can tell, at the moment, the last thing I've seen would indicate it's going to be Oramorph. It's an oral morphine suspension. It won't be prescribed in such large amounts that you could potentially overdose on it. But if it's not by Oramorph, it could also be by pain-relieving subcutaneous injection. Yeah, it's called subcut subcutaneous. You inject into fatty tissue that you can now hear me banging on. Subcutaneous injection is easy for anyone who's used to administering their own injections. Well, for insulin at least, the insulin I take has always been subcutaneous injection. It's a very easy thing to do. Now, whether or not they can administer morphine effectively subcut, or whether or not they'll just choose Oramorph because it doesn't involve an injection. Yeah. However, these drugs are controlled drugs. If we start giving these drugs out for carers to administer, there's all kinds of potential dangers here. What about people intentionally giving too much? To be quite blatant about this, what about people using these drugs to bump somebody off so that they get the life cover? You have to think about that. So not only will you get some kind of pain relief, I believe you'll also be given some kind of drug to dry up your secretions, yeah? That will be, I don't know quite how this will work, but to dry up your kind of lung secretions and whatever, and probably to help prevent that feeling that you're drowning, yeah? There is also talk that you'll get some kind of sedative, yeah? You know, it might be diazepam, it might be something, it might even be midazolam, I don't know, yeah? And there'll be something, I expect, to suppress the cough reflex. Now, you're going to be wondering if, like many people who are being cared for with, you know, a respiratory illness like COPD or something like that at home, are they going to give you oxygen? I very much doubt that they will. We've already heard apparently there is a shortage of oxygen in hospitals because the systems aren't coping and whatever, and maybe we're not making enough of it. But I doubt if they will be able to even prescribe you home oxygen, because it requires extensive, you know, your home has to be checked over. It has to be checked that the oxygen can be stored and used safely. It's an explosive medical gas. If used incorrectly, it could set light to you, your house, and your neighbours. It could even explode, yeah? Now, that's not just going to be a case of a GP writing on a prescription pad, O2 so many litres. It's not going to happen. Another thing you're very unlikely to get, although there is a leaflet telling you about this that will be available from the NHS, about keeping people comfortable while they're dying, about turning them in bed, about washing them, about dealing with their toilet needs, which according to this leaflet will probably mean that most of us, pretty much like many of us these days who are waiting on carers, will be just effectively given incontinence pads. Yeah. So do you think you're going to be able to cope with cleaning your mother, your father, your relations, somebody like me, when we lose control of our bowels and our bladders? And that's quite common towards the end of life. Are you going to be able to cope with people, your relatives, your loved ones, your friends, who are choking on their own bodily fluids? Are you going to be able to cope with them gasping for air, feeling that they are drowning? Are you going to be able to cope with hearing the rattling of their disturbed breathing? And finally, their death rattle. Notice that lots of people are selling pulse oximeters now, because, you know, when your oxygen goes down so low, obviously, well, you can't supply all the organs and whatever, and you get multi-organ failure. Yeah. So look at that and understand the scale of this thing. You're going to be left alone to die. Now, also, you're going to think, oh, well, surely the district nurse will get on their bike and they'll come in, won't they? Community nursing teams are already stretched to the limit. I spoke to a community nurse only yesterday who has only just been given a visor to deal with her patients who may have COVID-19. They're already stretched to the limit. There will already be people in these teams who are going off sick and having to self-isolate because of COVID-19. The teams are at their limit. Do you think your mum, your dad, your sister, your brother are going to get a daily visit from the community nurse? I don't think so. This is frightening. Yeah, of course it's frightening. This has never happened to us before. But think about it. Yeah? I don't give a shit, man. The Tories, through cutting the health service and public and social services and all the care services and whatever, through deliberately cutting them while funding billionaires, we could have saved more lives. This could have been handled better. Couple of quick ones before I go. The PPE, the PPE that's, now hospitals are running out of gowns. They barely think they'll get through the weekend. I've got about 2 minutes, and they're suggesting they reuse them. Don't buy the excuse that it's not available on world markets. Stuff is being delivered through an EU agreement to France, Germany, Italy. Many European countries are getting this. Don't buy that excuse that it's not available. And don't buy the excuse that we could have made, that we are making it here, because we're not. Hancock is lying. Don't buy it's a logistical problem. Again, Hancock is lying. So don't buy that excuse. So we got to take care of the carers, which clearly they're not. This weekend they're being sent like lambs to the slaughters. They're being sent into battle without body armour. They're being sent into battle without a bayonet or a rifle or a bloody helmet. That's how we're sending these heroes into battle. That can change. It's got to change. Don't accept Hancock's bloody excuses. Have every damn TV interviewer hold that man to account. Shame him. Embarrass him. Call him out on this. And don't accept his because it's crap. Good luck. Stay locked down. Stay safe. Remember, end-of-life care is going to pass to you to deal with your loved ones. And how are you going to cope with that? And what's more, how well are you going to be resourced and supported while dealing with that? Badly, I am sure. Bye.